Well, it's Tuesday, once again in the parking lot with all the trucks backing up, all the traffic, smiling at the person next door here in the parking lot. Anyway, I feel like just starting over again. I'm sorry I'm a couple minutes late. It's an absolutely beautiful day here. Just instantly, it turned from miserable cold and freezing literally at night to it was 80 some degrees in our backyard yesterday. I hope this isn't happening up in the mountains where we have a record depth of snow, and if it melts all at once, the rivers around here are just going to flood. Anyway, the holy days are over for this year anyway, and we've been spending a lot of time on the circumstances surrounding the reception of the Book of the Law, the equinox of the gods, and all of that. So today we're starting something a little fresh. I've shared parts of this with you before, but I posted this morning on Facebook the question, how would you explain Aleister Crowley or magic or Thelema to a fifth grade class? Okay. The parking lot is a show in itself this morning. Anyway, why would I say that? Well, a number of years ago, I actually did get a letter from somebody, and their parents, I think, know Constance and me, and were probably had attended at least one Monday night class. But anyway, that made them feel free to write me this letter. My name is so-and-so, and I'm doing a History Day project at my school about Aleister Crowley. If you could please answer the following questions for me, I would greatly appreciate it. And I'm going to read you the questions first. What do you consider Aleister Crowley's legacy for modern culture? What do you consider Aleister Crowley's legacy for modern culture? What are the three most important aspects of his legacy? 3, of all of Aleister Crowley's works, which do you think has had the most influence today? 4, how you doing? 4, what misconception about Crowley would you like to be cleared up the most? 5, in your opinion, what was the most widely believed misconception of Aleister Crowley? 6, if Aleister Crowley were alive today, how would people view him? Would it be different or close to the same as it was in the 1800s and at the turn of the 20th century? 7, how did you first know about Aleister Crowley? Where and when? 8, do you think that Aleister Crowley's legacy will ever be forgotten? 9, Why do you think some bands have put his writings, pictures, names in their works? 10. In your opinion, what is the most inspirational book by Crowley? So those are the 10 questions. Here's how I handle that. Dear Name Withheld, I have to say you've chosen a very interesting and historic character to write about for your History Day project. In 2002, the BBC conducted a poll of 30,000 Britons, asking them to vote for the person who was, in their opinion, the greatest Briton of all time. Named number 73 in the top 100, sandwiched between King Henry V and Robert Bruce, stands the famous, quote, famous poet, author, and philosopher, Aleister Crowley, unquote. Now I answer the questions one at a time. What do you consider Aleister Crowley's legacy for modern culture? Crowley's legacy for modern culture would be impossible to itemize and even less possible to prove. But let's look at it this way. Did the Beatles change the consciousness of Western civilization in the 1960s? Did the revolution in human thought that characterized that period in history profoundly affect the music, art, fashion, movies, food, literature, philosophy, science, religion, and politics of today? Unless you've been living in a state of complete denial, a coma, or a cave, the answer is yes. Crowley's life, works, and philosophies influenced not only John Lennon of the Beatles, Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones, Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin, and David Bowie, they also influenced scores of other cultural icons, such as visionary writers Ray Bradbury, Arthur C. Clarke, William Burroughs, Robert Heinlein, and filmmakers Orson Welles, Kenneth Anger, and George Lucas. And let's not forget rocket scientist Jack Parsons, the founder of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the predecessor of NASA, and the inventor of jet-powered takeoff. Parsons was a space pioneer who is honored with a crater on the moon named after him. He was also a personal student of Aleister Crowley. This is only one part of Crowley's legacy for modern culture. Crowley's ideas change people. These people changed and are continuing to change the world. Second question, what are the 3 most important aspects of his legacy? Number 1, his revolutionary spiritual view that the true will of each individual is the same thing that in the past has been labeled the will of God. 2, his ethical view that discovering, then doing one's true will is the only way to truly gain enlightenment and advance human consciousness and evolution. And 3, his philosophy that says, in essence, that no one can define truth for another person. 3, of all of Crowley's works, which do you think has had the most influence today? The Book of the Law, Liber al Vel Legis, a book that Crowley channeled in 1904 in Cairo, which forms the basis of his work. It's a very strange little book. One might think at first reading that it makes little sense at all. I'm going to roll up my window. Yes, I have a crank. I'm surprised I don't have to crank it to start it. Question 4. What misconception about Aleister Crowley would you like to be cleared up the most? My answer, the most absurd and vicious slander still repeated today is the false accusation that Crowley advocated or participated in human sacrifice. This accusation is totally untrue and based upon the most ignorant and ill-informed interpretations of some of his most esoteric writings. 5. In your opinion, what was the most widely believed misconception of Aleister Crowley? That he was a Satanist or a black magician. The fact that he developed such a horrible reputation is mostly his own fault, because many times he was accused of such things he didn't bother to deny them, thinking intelligent people would see through such absurdities. Unfortunately, most people weren't and still aren't as intelligent or well-informed as he assumed. I wasn't going to get into a discussion of Satanism as Crowley was accused of being, and Satanism as a spiritual philosophy in modern times is not the same thing. I wasn't going to open up that can of worms from hell. 6. If Aleister Crowley were alive today, how would people view him? Would it be different or close to the same as in the 1800s and at the turn of the 20th century? I believe Crowley was born just about 60 years ahead of his time. Most people today who really do their homework about the man find him brilliant, funny, and profoundly inspiring. If Crowley were alive today, his lifestyle and attitudes would not seem very shocking or controversial. 7. How did you first know about Aleister Crowley? Where and when? I first saw his picture on the cover of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album. Later, I was referred to his works in relation to my study of Hebrew mysticism, Hermetic Kabbalah, magic, and tarot. It seemed I saw his name and references to his work everywhere I turned. Do you think that Aleister Crowley's legacy will ever be forgotten? His name may eventually be forgotten, but I believe the essence of his legacy is a permanent stone in the pyramid of human spiritual evolution. 9. Why do you think some bands have put his writings, pictures, names in their works? I imagine some do it to be spooky and satanic, but others do it out of genuine respect for this remarkable and historic character, and see the essential freedom of the human soul that Crowley celebrated reflected in their art. And finally, in your opinion, what is the most inspirational book by Crowley? Liber Tzadi, a tiny little book that is published among the holy books of Thelema. I also get endless inspiration from the Book of Thoth, an extended commentary on the tarot, which he wrote toward the very end of his life. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. My best to you and your parents, and good luck with your class project. And this is from the book, Ask Babylon. And I say this a lot about some of my lesser known works, that it's the best book of mine that you've probably not read, along with the Book of Ordinary Oracles. Anyway, it's Ask Babylon, Answers to Questions of Life and Magic. It's on Kindle too, but the hard copy is very nice. It's published by New Falcon Publications. And here's some of the selections from it. Who is Babylon? Thelema, Aleister Crowley, AA in the OTO. OTO for a Freemason. Sex Magic in the OTO. Monogamy and Sexual Ethics in the OTO. Marriage. Thelema in Politics. Can a Thelemite be a liberal? Angels, Demons, the Holy Guardian Angel, Real Life and Miscellaneous Technical Matters. Are angels real? Commanding the Archangels. How do I redeem a demon? Where the hell did I go wrong? I want to use demon sigils at work, at the office. Shouldn't I be nice to the Goetic spirits? Is it wise to evoke angels or demons for financial help? What is the straightest path to the Holy Guardian Angel? Do I first need my HGA before beginning any magical work? Is the Holy Guardian Angel just me? Balancing family life and magic. Is magic harmful to children? The wand or the sword. I'm being magically attacked. Do banishing rituals really work? Nightmarish astral projections. Why isn't homosexuality talked about in sex magic? I think the answer was, you haven't read very much, sir. Monday night magic class, religion and masonry, prayer and Enochian magic, magic and schizophrenia, the Qliphoth. Can I have a vasectomy and still be a sex magician? Where am I on the tree of life and reincarnation? So all of those questions, 30-some years of letters and emails in Ask Babylon. Anyway, I'm in a parking lot. I'm going to roll the window down because it's warm today. Anyway, until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.